Welcome back, everybody. Sorry I haven't been around for a couple of days. I've been here, but I've been online debating some of the liberals out there, some of the people who are liberals, who are fighting for the progressive movement, and I just don't understand why. But I've been debating them online here, a couple at a time, because once you start talking to somebody, all of a sudden you've got 2 or 3 people just completely bombarding your site with ridicule and hatred is what it is. But these people, I had a great time with these people. It was very frustrating because dealing with them is like arguing with a teenager. It really is. They can never understand the how these things began, or you can never explain to them that, you know, what you're saying. For example, they've given me all these statistics that's happening in the United States, where the United States is compared with the rest of the world, like in healthcare and living, and people who living in the United States, and people who, you know, lose everything because of bankruptcy, because of healthcare, and all of this. And I try to explain to them is that what you're doing is basically you're taking the symptoms, you're taking the side effects, and you're trying to solve those instead of going to the cause, looking back and see what causes these things. How did that statistic get created? It's not, the progressive movement just wants to throw these statistics out here, which I believe are true, and then use them to bash the system, when it was their policies that created those statistics. Do you see what I'm saying? The system was just fine until they infiltrated the system, changed it, and created a reformation for change. Just like Saul Alinsky in Rules for Radicals says, you must destroy and then use those people who have been destroyed against the system, even though it was you that created it. So I suggest to all of the liberals out there, when you're debating, you're throwing these statistics around, stop for a second and look at the policy that caused that symptom, like the economic crisis. The policy that caused the economic crisis was the Community Reinvestment Act. That's what caused the economic collapse of the United States of America and the world. That's what did it. And the banks went along with it because they lifted the Glass-Steagall for the banks. And Barack Obama came out the other day and he's talking about we need to put new regulations on the banks and this, that, and the other. These regulations that he's talking about were the Glass-Steagall Act. All the things that he was saying that he's going to change, basically if he re-implemented the Glass-Steagall Act, all of the things that he was talking about would be solved. But he can't say, let's re-implement the Glass-Steagall Act, because then everybody will go, well, who dismantled the Glass-Steagall Act? And then he'd have to say, well, we did, because we needed the banks to go along with the Community Reinvestment Act, which means giving money to poor people for homes. You know, the banks were able to, after the Glass-Steagall was lifted, they were able to create hedge funds and all kinds of other investment tactics to dump all of these bad mortgages that they knew were bad. And then the progressive movement just blamed it on the banks, and that's what they're doing now, attacking the banks. It's class warfare. But also what I wanted to talk about today was the ruling by the Supreme Court last week. I've been talking to a lot of conservatives who are not really happy with that move. But basically what it did is the McCain-Feingold bill prevented corporations from donating to political campaigns, which I'm all for that. I totally am. But the problem with that is it gave unions unfettered access to these politicians with campaign financing. Why do you think the unions have gotten so powerful? Why do you think Andy Stern, the president of SEIU, the biggest union in the United States of America, has been at the White House more than anybody? Because the Glass-Steagall Act prevented corporations. Everybody, you know, it resulted, Barack Obama got in by corporations. Barack Obama did not get in the White House because of funding or donations from corporations. They got in from banks, unions, and media. Do you understand that? That's how Barack Obama got in, not campaign contributions from corporations. I totally believe that corporations should stand on their own in the world and not have any influence in government. But the problem is our government is leaning one way or the other. It's leaning towards the unions, and the unions and the corporations have no defense against the onslaught of the unions with the government backing them. So I'm totally for what the Supreme Court did the other day. Until we can purge this government of corruption, we've got to give our corporations every tool that they can to fight against the unions. Because the unions are slowly destroying the corporations. Do you understand? Put it this way. Did you know that Barack Obama's administration gave the unions a majority share in GM? So now the unions own GM. Can you understand that for a second? It's because the McCain-Feingold prevented corporations from funding campaigns of conservatives that would fight on their side, and all we've got now are a bunch of crazy progressives on the right and the left. You understand? It's a tool. The McCain-Feingold. McCain is just like Obama when he talks about jobs. He doesn't mean jobs in America. He means union jobs in America. He doesn't mean jobs for the average American. He means union jobs. When he fights for people, jobs, workers, he's fighting for unions. We need to eliminate unions. Unions have gotten too big and powerful. They were needed at one point in time, but now they are not. Now they are an albatross around the neck of the American people and the American worker. They're the vampire. The blood-sucking vampire of the working man. God bless America.